Welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm gonna actually be spraying the 67 Mustang with some color. Stay tuned. I left off the last video. I did do another coat with sanding the whole car. I did go ahead and mask it, which I didn't film. As you can see, some of these areas the tape doesn't stick that well, just because you have to stretch it a little and it kind of comes off. But that's why you kind of go over it before you paint, and you make sure that everything is where you want it to be. So what I did do, and I didn't film either, is spray the door jambs. So you see the door jambs are sprayed. It was really hard to get in the jam area right there, just because it's just tight. But overall, this is mostly what you see. And then I did spray here the door, because this is where I had some of the primer gray in there, and I just didn't want the paint to hit it, and it was gonna just be a rough area. So this is all done. And see, this is another example where the tape kind of peels off a little bit. So I'll probably put another piece of tape there. I also sprayed the underneath of the hood. So this one needed mostly this area here where I had done some of the body work, where I cut the hole, but I ended up actually spraying the whole underneath of the hood again. I just had the paint, and I figured it was going to look more uniform to spray the whole thing and spray clear to the whole thing rather than just a small area. So this is all set. I also tried to get the edge quite a bit, so it's covered pretty well. What I'm going to do now is tape up here on top, and so the tape's going to be right on top corner here. Mask this hole underneath so the paint doesn't come through. I'm gonna tape here as well so the paint doesn't come through, and make this underneath a little bit rough and dull. And then I'm gonna paint here as well, or tape here. I'll mask this whole thing and then flip the hood around. I'll probably sand just slightly with the 600 where there's probably a little bit of paint here on the other edge, just so also the new paint adheres here on the edge. And then I'll do the top of the hood the same as the rest of the car. Same here, I'm gonna tape the door right at the edge and then mask pretty much the inside. I'll tape the jamb here right at the edge and then mask it, because if I spray it, the paint's gonna go in, but then it's gonna make it really like a rough surface, because it's not, you're not spraying directly. So if I mask it, take it off, it look better. I might just go here kind of at the body line, but I want to mask all that, and then I'll tape it, close the doors, and spray the rest of the car. So I do have to, it's not really dusty or anything too much. There is some of the paint dust, but I am gonna wipe that off. I'll probably just use the air, spray it off, and get my towel with the wax and tar remover, and then also a tack cloth before we spray. So I did the same thing here at the trunk. Just again, it had a little bit over the edge, so I masked this right here at the edge here, and just because I didn't want to spray the whole thing, I could have, but I just did it that way. I already took the tape off here, but what I'm gonna do now is tape right at the edge. And I probably won't tape up here, although that'll be hard for me to spray, but I'll tape on the inside edge, cover this thing, flip it, and then when I paint the underneath of the trunk, I can come on an angle from the bottom and get this edge again. And I'll hit this with 600 just to get a little bit better adhesion. But I also try to spray this edge so it has a good coverage now. And then I'll tape it up here, so when I paint the top, it's gonna have a good coverage again on the edge. So that's mostly one of the big things that takes time is your taping, your sanding, mostly the sanding prep work. But now, you know, taping, make sure you take your time doing that. So I'm gonna tape this, flip this things around, and then get the body all ready, and we'll start spraying paint. I went and got paint. So I got a gallon paint with the reducer and everything. So we're pretty much ready. I did try to spray underneath of the body because that's also hard to get. So now I don't have to, you know, I'll still go at an angle, but I don't have to really go down underneath as much. So hopefully that comes out okay. I know this part's gonna be the hard part with all the areas that you have to get into. So hopefully it doesn't come out too rough on some areas, because sometimes once you spray, you know, you're gonna get some of those areas kind of dusty and rough. And that's where the buffing comes into play, but hopefully it's not too much. So, and then I'll just double check all my taping, make sure everything is taped okay. I'm sure it's not gonna be 100% perfect, but we're pretty much here, you know, ready to get started. So let me get this first this prepped, taped, and then hopefully we'll start mixing paint here soon. Okay, so I went ahead and got everything taped up, flipped the hood around. So I'm just gonna hit it with the 600 grit, mostly on the part that I was already painted here on the edges, a little bit here just to make it a little bit smoother. And then same with the door. Now be mindful when you're taping in there, too close it's gonna be pretty hard because of the extra tape and everything you have in there. But I went ahead and got that taped, closed it up, and then taped up the gas cap, took that off. Over here I was noticing, and you know, be aware, I did get a little run on the clear right here, but that was when I painted the door jamb. So I'm just gonna make sure that I hit this probably with, I'll probably hit it with like 320 to burn through that run, and then 400 and then 600. Maybe just the 400 is okay, but you know, if I would leave that, then that would have shown all the layers through. So kind of be aware. And that happened because when I was doing the door jamb, I was clearing, and that was a clear run, because clear usually it's easier to run. I was doing the bottom, and then I was doing up and down, and so here it was kind of getting more coats, and so it looks like it accumulated and ran a little bit. So be aware when you're painting a whole car, some areas you're gonna be, you know, maybe painting back and forth, and maybe you'll go the other way. And you know, when you're doing the clear, be very mindful. If you're going heavy, that's where you start getting run. So for example, if I'm doing this here and then I go up and down, that's going to be extra layer. You know, even if I'm just going like in this little area up and down, that's already extra layer maybe that's hitting down here. And so, but that's how you learn. So I'm gonna get my sandpaper again, just kind of go over some of these spots. And I do have to blow off all this dust. As you can kind of see, it's a little bit red, and that's from the overspray. So I have to take that off. Maybe I'm just gonna wipe it, because if I blow it, it's gonna go all over the air again. So wipe that off, but I do have to sand a little bit where all this paint was oversprayed. And then we'll be ready to start mixing paint. Okay, so went ahead and got the paint scuffed up with the 600. Went ahead and wiped down with some wax and tar remover. I am gonna wipe with the tack cloth all the surfaces. So pretty much this just takes any dust, anything out of the paint, so that way it doesn't get trapped in there. So even though it looks pretty clean, I mean, you still get, you know, some dust, things like that. So I'm gonna wipe everything with this, and then I'll probably come back and do it one more time just right before I start spraying, and I'll start mixing. So I'm using the Nason paint by Axalta, and this is a 1:1, so they did change this from before, but 1:1 mix ratio. I did get a whole gallon of paint, so hopefully I can do at least 3 coats of base on the whole car. I think I would have enough. I do need to save a little bit for another project that you guys will see later, but I just need a tiny little bit for that. So wish us luck. Hopefully everything lays out, sprays out okay. And if it doesn't, well, it doesn't, right? But gonna try to make it look as nice as possible. This is gonna be a car that I'm not gonna daily drive, but I am gonna drive it out in the road. It's gonna get rock chips and things like that. So, you know, I have spent quite a bit of time, more than I normally have spent on any kind of body work or prep. But also keep in mind, the longer you spend and then a little chip comes along or a scratch and you just like, ugh. So, you know, I do want it to look nice, but I also do want it to be a driver, not something that's gonna go from here to a trailer to a car show. I am gonna keep driving this car. So let's just get ready, put some paint on it. Alrighty, so this is all complete. I went ahead and took all the tape, masking paper off. And so what you want to do also is take the tape off of the edges that are next to the paint when the paint is still a little bit wet, not as soon as you paint, but don't let it dry all the way. What happens is, for instance, in this area here with the window, if I leave it to dry and then I try to peel the tape, sometimes when the paint is all the way dry, one, your tape won't peel off easy, it's gonna rip. Sometimes it's gonna chip the paint, and so it's not gonna look as good. Some areas, like when I tape here, that's no big deal. Here, really big deal, because the tape was right at the edge of the paint. And so if you let this dry all the way, the tape won't peel off good. For example, here on the gas cup, right? I just taped it a little bit. If I let it dry, it might chip the paint. And once paint starts to chip, it might continue to chip later. So that's why you want to go ahead and take the tape out right away. But overall, it came out really good. I don't know if the camera can pick up. I did get quite a bit of dust nibs all around, but when you don't have a paint booth, you're gonna get that regardless. I mean, I tried to clean the garage as much as I could. I put plastic. It doesn't help that my compressor is inside here because that makes a lot of turbulence on the air. And also when you're spraying, I mean, paint just circles and, you know, there's dust in the air and things like that. So keep that in mind. If you have the ability when you get a compressor, put it outside, that's way better. But overall, there's really no orange peel on this paint. It's pretty much like factory. You can see the reflection of everything around. I don't know, I think the camera can pick it up, but there's my reflection there. There's really no paint orange peel on it. It's really nice. You can see my reflection pretty good. So it came out great. Honestly, couldn't ask for more. The little dust nibs, you know, I can cut and polish the paint, which I usually end up doing because of the orange peel. This one, if there was no dust, I would not even care to polish it because it looks good. I may just kind of leave it like that a little bit for a while. We'll see what I decide to do, but if I do polish, mostly it's gonna be, you know, hitting it probably with 2000 just to hit the little dust nibs and then polish. The thing is with the dust nibs, even with polish, you end up seeing those later on because the paint's gonna have that little imperfection, but it's not gonna be bumpy, it's gonna be smooth. So, but overall, it came out pretty good. So happy with the results. Now I gotta get, once this dries completely, get the trunk and the hood back on there and just start kind of piecing it together. I will paint here on the wheel wells. I didn't tape everything because everything underneath had gotten oversprayed. So I'm just gonna get some black paint and paint everything down here anyways. That's why I just left it. And you know, I can put my door handles, put my door panels on. I'll start building my center console now that that's gonna be pretty much done. Tail light end, I have new tail lights, so actually I can put those on now. I'll buy new chrome rings because the old ones are really pitted. And then I have the new bumper, which I need the brackets, but I'll get those going so I can actually start finishing everything out. But overall, not too bad. So anyways, that's it for this second part of the video, I guess. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Remember, if you are painting, I mean, just go for it, just try it. Paint is a little expensive nowadays if you get something like this, but you can go and buy like the single stage paint. It's not too bad. Tractor Supply has decent paint that's just like a single stage. If you want to kind of start learning, I would say, you know, try with cheaper paint, spray it, see how you like it, how you kind of get the hang of it, and then once you do a little bit, you know, buy some of this paint. But hey, if you're able to, I mean, just keep in mind this paint is quite a bit more expensive, and so if something goes wrong, then you're gonna be out that money, I guess. But anyways, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.